Whoops. Hello, good morning. Sorry about that. I clicked the wrong button there before I finally got to the right one for our little intro video. Well, welcome to Whimsy Stamps Live with Carrie on Thursday. I'm glad you're here with me today. And I have a little story about my card today that I'll tell you once we get started. But every spring I kind of like to do a series of masculine cards. It's kind of once Valentine's Day is over and before Easter, it's just kind of a good time of year to do some masculine cards. So I have 4 or 5 planned for us coming up soon, and this is the first one, and it is an encouragement card. And let me show you the products that we're going to use to make this one. So we're going to be using the Robots stamp set, which is just perfect for the men. We're going to be using the Big Boo Boo stamp set, the Retro Frames, and the Good Grief large word die. So a few weeks ago, my sister-in-law called and my nephew had broken his leg. I was like, oh no, what happened? And she says, stupidity. And I said, oh my, stupidity, what happened? So he and his friends had decided to pour water on a slide at the playground and run up and down it. And long story short, he slipped and he broke his leg. So this is a card that I have made for my nephew, which, of course, we're just teasing him when we say he just boys having fun, but he did end up getting hurt. So he's doing fine. He's recovering. But this one says, good grief, sorry you lost a screw. And on the inside it says, that's one big ouchie. And I have the little wrench. So I love that the robot stamp set just lends itself so much for masculine cards. So to create this, I went ahead and I took my Retro Frame die set and I die cut one of the large inner pieces. Let me grab that. Here it is. So this large piece right here, and then the larger of the 2 inner ones is what I used. I'm sorry. I'm telling you the wrong way. I have to think through what I'm doing here. The large, I'll just pull this out so I don't confuse myself as much as I'm confusing you. Okay, so this one and then the inner piece is what I used to cut this one. And then this one I cut with this larger one. So I did that on purpose because what I want to do is mount this behind, and by using the smaller one for the end and then the larger one for this one, it makes it so that's going to fit perfectly back there. Now sometimes what's fun about this set is you may want a larger space here. If you're creating like a scene or a masked off scene or something, you may want to cut it this way so that you have a larger area in there to work with. So this die set really gives you lots of kind of options like that. So it's fun to play around with that and use it in different ways. Now another thing I did using this set is I used these 2 to cut out a frame for my window, and that's another cool option that you can do. So I'm going to check my computer real quick here because I'm getting a warning sign. If anybody's having any troubles, do let me know there in the chat, because I'm not sure what that warning says. It's something about the current buy rate, and I don't know what that means, but hopefully it's okay for all of you. Okay, so we're just going to go ahead and frame all these together, or glue all these together. My card today is going to be a completely flat card. I didn't use any foam tape on this one. And you might notice that the paper that I'm using for today's card is a little different than my original. And that's simply because I didn't have another sheet of this fun blue with the stripes on it and stuff. So I had to find a different one. But all of the pattern paper that I'm using are from the Whimsy pattern paper collections. But I kind of use multiple. They're from all different sets. So one thing I like to do when I'm making masculine cards that I think lends itself to have a masculine look is to use dark colors as a balance with my bright colors. So sometimes I'll use navy blue, sometimes a dark brown, and in this case I went with black. But I think that's always an easy way to give something a masculine look. So for this piece, I'm just going to put a little bit of glue here around my window. And there we go. So like I said, I have several masculine cards planned for the next few weeks, and I have thrown in a couple Easter cards as well. A little glue around my frame. So many of the stamps and dies that are on the market really lend themselves to feminine cards. And that's one of the things I really love about the Whimsy products. There are so many of them that can be just used for either. They're not real flowery, and they're not so cutesy that, you'd feel silly giving it to a man. So this one is for teenagers, so this is how I'm going to arrange it, just like my first one. And I did stamp my sentiment, "Sorry you lost a screw," but I think I'm going to go ahead and stamp it using the stamp. And then if this for some reason doesn't work, I can always glue this piece over the top. I wanted to lay it out like this to make sure I get it stamped in the right place. Okay, move that up and over a little bit. Move this over. There we go. All right, there we go. Easy peasy. So I am going to glue this fun, kind of funky retro frame at an angle on my card. For some reason, when I use this die, I often just like it kind of at an angle. I think that kind of adds to the retro vibe. I'm going to angle it just like this, keeping the whole frame still on my 4 by 4 1/4 size, but angled just a little bit. And then my good grief, I'm going to position it so all the letters are still on my blue frame, because if it gets up over onto this on my black here, it kind of makes it hard to read. So I want to keep that so that it's all down on the frame. I also kind of liked it, the 2 letters that are on top of my red frame, so that the inside of the letter, and I'll show you when I lay it down, is completely filled up. Like, I think it's an O and a D. Yeah, about, let's go right there. It's pretty good. Oh, I did die cut 2 of these and stacked them, just to give my greeting there a little more dimension. So I think it's been a couple years ago now, my daughter broke her leg ice skating, and then my nephew just broke his leg, and then I found out yesterday that my daughter's mother-in-law just broke her leg, and she's going to have surgery soon and have some pins put in. And it's like, whoa, we got to run on broken legs. Start being careful. So anyway, I think this is a fun card if you have someone that finds themselves in a situation with broken bones or anything like that. Now, on the inside of my card, I stamped "That's one big ouchie." So it's kind of more lends itself towards broken bones. But the outside could be for really any kind of, difficulty that somebody finds themselves in and could use a card of encouragement. So there we go. Now, one thing I did add is this little screwdriver. Since I used the sentiment, sorry you lost a screw, I thought adding the screwdriver. And he's kind of just sitting there with his head in his hands like, oh my, now what? So there we go. All right, now before we add this on the card, I'm going to go ahead and we're going to stamp the inside of our card. And for this, I am going to use a stamping platform, mainly because so many of my inks are running low that I have to stamp them over and over to get them to make a good impression. So I am using the Big Boo Boo stamp set, and it gives you lots of different ways to put words together to kind of say different things. So I want to say sorry. That's one. Oh, you know what? I'm not going to use the sorry because it said sorry on the outside. We're going to use that's one. Originally, I was going to have it say sorry on the inside, and then I realized it says sorry on the outside, so I decided to go this way. That's one big, and I think on this one, I'm going to use the word boo-boo instead of ouchie, just to change it up a bit. So I'm laying it all out here, but I'm actually going to take the big off because I want to stamp this part in black, and then I'll come back and do the rest in the red. Okay. Do that a second time. Alright, I have pulled some red ink. We'll probably have to do this one several times, but we'll get that. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's starting to look red. Right. So I always like to kind of tailor my cards towards a person's interest and things like that. And so the robot, I think, is a really fun stamp set if you've got fellas that are really into technical things or video gaming or, you know, just more of the high-tech guys in our life. I thought the robot would be a fun stamp set to use for them. And I wanted to show you some of the other sentiments and things in this set. And you've got one robot that's kind of, oh, he can be blowing a gasket here. He's got some smoke coming out of his ears. He could be celebrating or kind of like dancing or something like that for a birthday. There's just lots of ways to color him up and kind of change the scene. And then you've got this one, which could be really any of them could be a female robot, but depending on how you set the scene. So just lots of different emotions that you can put to them. So I think I miss you. You've got the beep. I thought it would be fun to do a background with just beep, beep, beep all around. You've got a light bulb here where you could put a light bulb above one of them, like maybe they just had a great idea. And then this one's nice for a birthday card. You are my best invention. So I thought that was a great sentiment if you're using this as a birthday card. So just a really all-around fun set. right. This one came together very fast, and the only thing I'm still going to add is my little wrench that I've covered up. I'm going to add that right inside. I think I'm going to go ahead and keep it right down here underneath. So I thought this was just a fun idea for an encouragement card, and it could work both ways for male or female, but especially for the guys in our lives. So I hope you like this idea. I'm glad that you were here with me today. If you do like any of these products, if you have a young men or a techie man in your life that you think this robot stamp set would work well for, that is linked below the video. And I think that's all. Do join me in the coming weeks. We're going to have a few more masculine cards, and then I also have a couple of fun Easter ideas. So I look forward to crafting again with you next week. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.